Hello and welcome back to Desktop Publishing with QuarkXPress. This week we're going to try and design and publish a book in just a few minutes. We're going to do a novel, we're going to prepare it for a print-on-demand service such as Amazon's CreateSpace. We've got our ISBN numbers, we've got those of Amazon, and we've got the book's contents and back cover material. So let's take a look at the screen. The things which we're going to need to have are cover, copyright information, contents and corpus. We're going to need to have a number of master pages, and we'll explain why in a minute. But let's go now to new project from Ticket. I'm going to use a job jacket where I've got pre-prepared styles, where I've got pre-prepared lists, conditional styles, and I've got the master page names in there. And also I've got two layouts, one for the cover, one for the content. Now, it's exciting to begin with the cover, but we can't do that until we've actually got the book contents. So let's go to the contents. I'm going to use a library now where I've got just a little bit of text. What this is doing is it's creating for me my content variables. Now, I could create those directly by going to the tags I'm going to be using, but I've just dragged them in that way to save a little bit of time. We'll come back to content variables another time. Well, let me type some stuff in now. So actually, first let's get these master pages sorted out. So for my pre-pages, I've just got a page text thing. I'm not linking them up. I'm going to do a footer, very, very simple. I'm going to do a space, Command 3 on a Mac, Control 3 on a PC, I think, to put the page number in. I'm going to drag that across there, Option drag, copies it, and I'm going to do right. And for the other two, I'm just going to create the text box and link it up. Going to do that on both sides. I'm going to do that for both main pages and chapter titles. Now, the chapter title is not going to have a running footer. You don't have that in chapter titles. We will create a running footer presently for the main page, but let's not do it yet because we can save ourselves quite a little bit of agony by doing it in the right order. And I'm now going to make that main page. So over here, I'm going to put the book title in. Get that right. It's called The Saxon Thief. And I've got a style sheet for that called Title Page Title. And the author is going to be Martin Turner, that's me. And that goes in there. And if I just move that onto there, you'll see that these content variables, which were invisible, have now picked that information. Now, on the next page, actually I will do one more thing here. I'm going to use some shared text, which I've got from my job jacket, some shared content, and that's the publisher's logo. It's just a publisher I've made up, but that's okay. You don't have to be a registered company of any particular kind to be that publisher, and I'll put that there. And now we're going to go and have our copyright information. I'm going to do the same thing. I've got this kind of colophon, which is the usual stuff which we often use. I'm going to bring that, drop that down to there. Now, the ISBN I just copied across from Amazon. Those will be correct, those numbers it's giving me. And I'm just going to change the book title there to my content variable book title, because if I then change my name, for example, to Martin M. Turner, because there's another Martin Turner, it'll change automatically there. When we're publishing books, consistency is essential, and the more we can do to prevent us getting into trouble, the better. Now, this page is we're going to reserve that for the contents. We haven't got any contents yet, so let's just put the title in there of contents to remind ourselves, but we're going to come back to that. The font I'm using is Sabon. It's a Garamond type of font. Now, let's go for the content. What I've got is I've got this as Express tags. You can do the same thing with Word. It's going to bring in text which has already been tagged with the appropriate style names. Now, actually, they're not going to be the right style names. and I'm going to delete them in a minute. You'll see that happening. Now, I've chosen Sabon because it's a very, very good font. And if you're using a font you found on the internet, check really carefully. If you're going to spend any money in this process at all, it's much better to use a good font. Buy it from Monotype or Linotype or somebody. Okay, so let's have a look at the screen now, and we'll see that it's come in, but it's come in double spaced because authors always send their stuff in double spaced. But we don't want double space, that's no good to us. So let's have a look at the style sheet he's used. He's got body. Well, I'm just going to delete that and replace it with body text. Okay, and that's going to work for a moment. It's going to take a little bit of time to work all the way through because it's going through every line of text in the entire document. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of this title here. I don't need that. I'm going to change his number to chapter number. I'm going to change his chapter. No, I'm not. I'm going to change his chapter to my chapter title. And you can see I formatted that. I've got a big load of space before the chapter number, so it forces it onto a new page. I've also got a drop cap conditional style. I'm going to have to delete the paragraph return there in order to make that work. And I'm using a conditional style so I can have a different font as the first letter. It's kind of Anglo-Saxon sort of font. It's an Anglo-Saxon sort of novel. Good. Now, I actually want that to start on a new page. I'm just going to do page enter there. And what we're going to do is, if we now go down to the list, we'll see that, update that we now have a list of each chapter. We can just double click on that. And this is going to be important because if I now change those to the chapter title page, then I can go through that and make sure that they're all going to have the correct page to go there. And now if I go back to my master page and change, I'm actually going to use this from my library. I've already made these with the running headers in them, the running footers. You don't have to have running footers in a novel, but some people like it. No, we don't have that one, we'll have the other one. And this is picking up this running footer information like we talked about with content variables. So if I now come back to here, you'll see that okay, I in fact didn't change that to the right one, so let's delete that. But what I'm going to have is no footers on the chapter title pages. And that is essentially almost done for that. If I now just load in my update and build that, and I'm just going to do tab, I'm going to put in a dot fill character and a right tab, and that's going to give me a nice table of contents page. I might want to extend that. So that is essentially my novel is ready to submit to Amazon. I can go through and do my drop capitals, and I probably would go through chapter by chapter. It's going to take me a couple of minutes longer, but by clicking on these, it's very quick indeed, because I can just work through. I haven't got to go through and find how many there are. Now, because of the double spacing, we got far too many pages in. So let's find where the end is. And we're just going to delete the rest of those. Note we've got 220 pages. That's going to be really important because you can go on Amazon to work out exactly how many of these things that you need. But I've got a little database in FileMaker Pro which uses Amazon information to tell me that if my book is width 152.4 millimeters and it's got 220 pages, then the spine width is 13.97 if I am using black and white print with cream paper, which is nice for a novel. So I'm just going to change that now. So on the layout properties, I'm going to enter the height should be the height of the book, which is 228.6. and the width now is 318.77. And I'm just going to go to that master page, and I'm going to change, in the master guides and grids, the column width to 13.97. So that intervening column is now my spine. Now, I want to have a bleed and safe area, so we're going to go to guides, and we will create bleed and safety guides at 3.175. Actually, that should be 3.175 millimeters, which is what Amazon requires on both sides, which is actually 9 points, which is why it is that amount. And we'll see that. And now we're going to start importing some information. So what have I got? Let's Command E, and I've got the I've got some text here. I've got some an illustration, which is going to be snake, I think, .png. And that snake, we'll just turn that around. I want that to be kind of coming down that way. There is a wonderful picture of a snake found in the Saxon Hoard in Lichfield, which Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery owns. And I might want to talk to them to get the copyright permission to use their snake, which is nicer than mine. But in the meantime, I've rendered this one in 3D just to give it a kind of an effect. We'll send that to the back. Item sent to back. And I'm going to turn this into, again, we'll go to colors, and I'm going to multiply, and I'm going to darken that onto its background. Actually, I want to have no background. I'm going to darken the picture. Now I'm going to lighten the picture. What am I doing? Lighten. That lightens what I want. Okay. So, clearly this is the wrong background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the color of that background and add it in. And you might say, well, that's obviously just black. Well, it is in this case, but it isn't always black cover. And if it's not quite the same black, it will look wrong on the real thing. So that's now my cover. And I'm going to just bring that over there, bring that down to here, bring that across to there. So that's my safety. I'm going to bring the picture into there. And just get the proportions right. I've saved this at a very, very high resolution, so it's not going to be a problem here. As that's still at 303 DPI, but we might just want to make that 300 DPI, which will save us a bit of grief. Yeah, we'll just go up 25%. Oh no, 24%. 300 DPI. Now, this is not quite the same color as the logo, and it doesn't look quite as nice as I wanted it to. It's one of the problems of 3D rendering, so we're going to go to Image Editing, new in QuarkXPress 2017. I'm going to go to Curves. I'm just going to bump up the top and bring down the bottom. And ooh, look at that, that's much nicer. Now, the hue isn't quite right on that, so we're just going to adjust the hue a little bit. I'm going to go that way to make it more goldy, less greeny. I'm going to do the same thing for this one because actually I kind of like that color, and this could do with being just a bit stronger. So we're going to again move the hue and bump up the saturation on that and just make that really, really glow. So that's more greeny now, and they match rather better. You can do that really easily in QuarkXPress 2017. I might use the arrow keys just to kind of see what I'm doing there until I'm just quite happy with that. Right, now for the spine, let's go back to my QuarkXPress library. I created a spine template because it's just a little bit tricky work. Just pull that in there. So I've got the name of the book. I might want to just expand that a little bit. I've got the author, but they don't line up very nicely. That's not nice. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paragraph, and we're just going to change the, just pull that out a little bit. I'm going to change the baseline to center. You see that now? So those kind of center each other rather than getting in the way. And I might, in fact, want to do this. I might, whoops, I'm just going to lock that with F6. I obviously didn't log that. I obviously used F6 for something else. I'm just going to duplicate or copy that and reduce it down. And we'll turn the runaround off and bring that to the front. And we're just going to put that in as a little bit. And again, we want to reduce that further. If it goes over the edge of the spine, Amazon will complain. They will reject your submission. And there we are. Now, again, I might want to use my content, shared content, and get that logo out again for the publisher. However, there's going to be a problem because that logo is black and white, and black on black is not going to be very good. So what I'm going to do is convert to native objects using contextual menu there, and I'm going to change that to white. And we'll now reduce that down to that size. Oops. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. I think I might make 2 copies of that actually. Just bring that over here. Reduce a little bit more. Again, Amazon does tend to complain about things which are close to the live area. Just got a couple more things to do. So I'm going to put this logo here a little bit bigger, and I need some text for the back. Now, there's a barcode area where Amazon will insert its own barcode. Do not use this for anything. It's kind of over here. You can download a template from Amazon if you're unhappy about doing this directly, and it'll tell you exactly where that barcode is going to be. But generally, bottom right hand, don't use it. Don't put anything there. And finally, I'm going to load in some, I'm just going to copy in, I think, some text, which I've already got. Yeah, already got that there. Paste that in, and we're going to make that in white. And I might just make that 11 point, because white on black is not always legible. I could have a little bit more of an author's introduction there. Whatever you do, you cannot use random text created by the create placeholder text. Amazon will reject that. We've now got, we need to have the name of the author in, Martin Turner. We're going to give that the same gold color, which I actually borrowed from there. That's great. Okay. Doesn't really matter where the title goes. And there we are. And that's it. That is basically how you prepare a book. If we now export that, we need to put the same bleed on it. So we'll just begin with press settings. We'll do the bleed is going to be 3.175 millimeters, symmetrical. And we need to flatten it. Amazon always needs it flattened. And we're going to call that cover and export that. And we can then do the same thing with the contents. There we are, that cover's come out nicely. The bleed's all on there correctly. In fact, we're going to want to turn off all of the crop marks. Amazon will get cross about those. We'll turn those off and re-export it. But in just a few minutes, that is how you prepare a book. And what's going to happen next is I'm going to upload that to Amazon, and within 24 hours it'll get back to me with, are there any problems in terms of the mechanical stuff? And if I'm totally happy, I can check the proof online, but I really need to order a physical proof. If people are going to buy this book, you need to see it. You need to see that the cover really does glow for you. You need to get a separate proofreader to check every line of the text, that nothing's gone missing. Your reviews on Amazon will make all the difference. And if people say, well, this book is terrible because it's mechanically a failure, then you will not recover from that. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. I hope that was informative, and I look forward to speaking next time with you. In the meantime, happy quarking.